in this video, I want to talk about the challenges that older men with busy, productive lives that get in the way of them taking care, getting in control of their fitness while keeping their busy, productive business and family life intact. I'm going to break it down. I tell you, I have talked to literally hundreds of men where I'm talking to you about your challenges, what you're going through mentally, emotionally, physically, going through all the YouTube channels, all the fitness channels, trying to get all this information from the passionate, younger fitness experts who don't live your life, who don't understand where you're coming from, and you're trying to get that information, you're taking it in, and you're trying to do things that aren't necessary because they are telling you to do all that. And sometimes you're dumping the things that they're telling you because you don't think it's important, and they really are. Right? Well, I helped you cut through all that frustration, confusion, and overwhelm. I've talked to so many men. I hope that I make myself available to maybe this is the day you're going to reach out to me and talk to me. Because I'm telling you, in 10 minutes, I can clear up your biggest challenge. All right? I'm so brilliant, not because I've gone through the journey myself, and over the last 30 years I've helped out so many people. It's because I talk to men all the time, and we go through the same challenges over and over again. Right, so number 10 in the challenges that get in the way of older men who are busy and productive, they want to keep that busy, productive, flourishing life intact and get their fitness under control is they don't have anybody to compare themselves to. They really don't know if they're doing a great job or a poor job. Because think about it, at this age, you're putting that type of willpower, focus, energy, and time into your fitness. You look great, and you know you look great, and you're appreciative of it. But look around. None of your coworkers, none of your family, none of your friends your age, they put zero effort into it. Zero effort into it. And the YouTube channels and social media, all the fitness experts, it's dominated by younger, passionate 25-year-olds, 27-year-olds, and it's everything in the world to them. You remember what that was like maybe back in the time. You can't live that life. You can't think that way. You're juggling too many balls to do it. Right? There aren't a lot of passionate fitness experts who are in shape, who have that information, if not more than the younger fitness professionals, that you can come to for information, but you don't have anybody to compare yourself to. You don't know if you're doing a great job, if you really think about it, or a poor job. You don't know if the reason why you have that extra body fat is because of your testosterone being so low that everybody tries to tell you, maybe all the younger guys, if that's the reason, or you just don't have the right strategy. Where are examples of men just like you in any area of life, whether it's business? All right, we can compare ourselves as men to other people, right? Everybody has a different circumstance, but we can kind of measure. It's all over the internet. Guys like us, though, there isn't that comparison, right? And I'll tell you, it works both ways. Sometimes I talk to men who they aren't tackling their challenges with the gym, the training, the eating, the physical appearance, but they just think, well, I'm doing great. I've got the strategies. I know what I'm doing. I look this way because I'm just older. All right? Their standards aren't high enough. Their beliefs, the physical example, they don't have that there. Right? So they're settling for standards with their execution and their appearance that simply aren't true, but they don't have the bigger picture to compare themselves. The internet is full of the younger guys. There aren't a lot of older guys like us who are doing it on the internet. Right? Sometimes we're too easy on ourselves. What I find most of the time, because the men who I deal with, they're driven, they're successful, family, and their business life, those are the guys who gravitate towards me that we talk to. And they want that same standard when it comes to their training, their eating, their physical appearance. They want to do it very well right now. They don't want to be great in family and business and struggle and be confused when it comes to their fitness. And sometimes they're being way too hard on themselves. They have a training routine that's working well. They just don't have a measure, and they think they should be getting so many more gains, these incredible amount of muscle gains in a short period of time. They're winning the game, and they feel like they're losing. And I'll tell you, that's one of the biggest strategies. When you're doing well, you're putting all this effort, and all you are is frustrated. So even though your family and friends are telling you how great you look, and you kind of know it, you're grinding yourself because you don't have anybody to compare yourself to. Hey, that's why I do these. That's why I pump out all the information, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook. I want you to continue coming back. I want to give you that mental, emotional, physical, spiritual example of what you can shoot for. I want to break down the misconceptions. I want to alleviate that overwhelm, frustration, confusion that you have so you can get to work and become the best you can be, the real best you can be, right? And know those set of standards. Number 9 is you must courageously step into your why and or upgrade your why. Why are you doing all this? What are the reasons? What are your driving force? What's pain are you trying to get out of? What type of pleasurable experiences do you envision and do you want? Your why. It is so important. Now, let me just say one thing. I know what some of you guys are thinking, and I get it. I know. Just give me the training strategies. How do I get big biceps? How do I get a big chest? How do I get a ripped six-pack set of abs? I'm going to give you that too. Right? I get it. I know it because you've already identified what those abs, what those biceps, what that chest, what that physical body, that sense of control, the right training program, you have already identified whether you're conscious of it or not. That's going to give you confidence. It's going to give you certainty. It's going to help you attack your other goals in life. It's going to help you get the girls, whatever it is. Okay? I know that you've already identified that you know your why, and so you just come here just for the strategies. And I want to deliver that to you, but one thing is my passion of helping people. 30 years with the training strategies, right? But I've got 36 years working with the masters in personal development. The mind, it's so powerful. And I have to inject it into everything I teach. And a lot of you guys love that about this message, and that's why you're back, right? But I know some of you just get to the point, all right? But I'll tell you this, everything in life, your bicep curls, your bench press, your squats, as you know, they can always be taken to the next level, right? They can always be taken to the next level. Well, same thing with your mindset, refining your mental and emotional approach. You redefining your why. And I'll tell you, as I've talked to so many older men with busy, productive lives, and they just can't, get themselves organized. How I know I should eat the meals. I can't get it done. I know I should be able to do it. All right, I can't get to the gym on a consistent basis. I can't put forth the effort, right? They can't understand why, even though intellectually they know they can do it, especially when they see all the younger guys, or maybe they used to do it in the past. You got to redefine, just take a little bit longer to think about your why. You got to courageously step into your why and or upgrade your why, right? And again, I help men do this through 10-minute conversations, whether they come to me for coaching and we do it over 2 weeks, 2 hours of talking, or 4 weeks or 6 weeks. I have guys who've been coaching with me every single week for 4 years in a very structured, organized way. This coaching isn't just two guys talking, about, sets and reps, right? You can get that anywhere. This is about integrating it into the context of your entire life. Every single week, 1 hour of intensity. There's a form to fill out beforehand. There's a form to fill out after. We do it at the same time, on the same day, every single week, so we have that structure. Right? This coaching is no joke, guys. It's not just two guys talking. I don't know how the other guys do it, right? But that's what this is all about. So one thing is I always have to make sure, and I first listen, is what is their why right now? Does it need do they need to courageously step into their why? And or do they need to upgrade their why? So let me tell you what I mean by that is I talk to so many men, right? And I tell you, life gets challenging. You got so many things to balance. I get it, right? So when it comes to your fitness, sometimes we don't know why we can't get ourselves going. And it's usually because we're balancing all those other things, all right? But why is this fitness important? Sometimes, I got to tell you guys, something about pain, right? Pain is something that we have to learn how to manage. When we can courageously step into the pain, that's our biggest driving force. If you really think about all the things that you've done in life that have been amazing, that people compliment you for, it's not because, it's going to be so pleasurable. It may feel that way now, But if you really think what got you to dot every I, cross every T, do all the hard work that other people can't get themselves to do, if you really think about it, you were getting yourself out of some sort of pain that was very real to you. Maybe it didn't happen. Maybe it did, and you want to get it, never be there again. Pain is something that we need to face, that we all feel it. When we can step into it courageously, it's not going to last forever, and it's going to get us to do the things that we need to do. And then when we do that for a while, the pain subsides. Right? I talk to so many men, and they're older. They have family. They got children. Some have grandchildren. And they're 50 pounds overweight. Some of them have medical issues. Right? They think about their kids and what life would be like for their kids if they died prematurely. And I'm hearing them because they're opening up to me. And if you want to reach out to me. I make myself available. skip@skiplacour.com. I put all my information for you. And they open up to me because I'm safe. I'm at a distance. I'm on the phone. They've watched these videos, and we've built this trust. I'm thinking, that isn't enough? That isn't enough to stop putting that stuff in your mouth? Right? I get it. Sometimes we want to soften the pain. There's so much to deal with. You got other pressures, other responsibilities too. When you make a purpose that's bigger than you and yourself, because we can let ourselves down. We can let ourselves down, right? We can get over it. But whether it's for your children or you've got a bigger purpose, you want to be an example to other people. I got a lot of men come to me. They want to be that example to people around them. They work through challenges. They want to be that physical example. Right? I'll tell you, when you can step into that pain courageously, it will go away, but it'll get you to do the things that you want. It's right in front of you. I talk to so many men, like diabetes. I didn't know that it was so common. And I talk to men, and they tell me about how their parents or their grandparents or uncles, how they had their legs amputated at the end. But we disconnect ourselves from that pain. And I know it's unpleasant, but I'm just thinking, that can't get you to get up in the morning to work out. That can't get you to stop eating that food, right? Making the time. I'll tell you, I get up very early, stay up late. And I just think about, look, the least I can do for my kids is to take care of myself. I step into the pain. And here's the thing about it. Once you get a system, I help you out with the strategies, right, it becomes a lot easier for you to do it. It's not going to be painful anymore. You got to courageously step into that. Use it to serve you, just like you have in other things in life. If you're successful with your family, if you're successful with your business, right, those are the type of things, all right, that you need to step into. But like I said, you dot every I, you cross every T, you learn the strategies, it becomes part of you, and it's not painful anymore. It's not painful for me to eat and train right because I work through it. You will too. Right? Here's the other thing. A lot of men, they come to me, and maybe they followed my journals before. Maybe they didn't know who I was. And back in the day, they were really into bodybuilding and training. They ate the 8 meals a day, carried out around water jugs. They separated their cardio 10 hours from their training. They ate an anabolic window. Meal prep all day on Sunday. 1 out of 7 days, they were preparing meals. Right? They did that ultimate sacrifice because in their mind it was going to lead to all these feelings and emotions, right? And now here they are with a busy, productive lives. 2 things why you got to upgrade your why. Number 1 is, look, guy to guy, man to man. We're both a little bit older. We know what the younger guys think. You know what you thought back then. All that confidence that you thought you were going to earn just by being in shape, being ripped, having muscles. Did it actually materialize? Sure, it was helpful, right? Did he really get all the confidence to get that girls, right? That was your driving force. It was going to set up all this confidence. You're going to have this busy, productive life. You're going to meet all the girls. You're going to have all this. And you believed that. That's why you're willing to walk through a wall of fire, so to speak, eat 8 meals a day, drink so much water, you have to go to the bathroom every 10 minutes, that you stop and ate and put your work on the side and you stop conversations or whatever, right? Because you believe. We'll do anything if we believe it's going to take us to that goal. It doesn't even have to happen as long as we believe it. We'll get ourselves to follow through. If a ripped 6-pack set of abs really made you confident and really made you happy all by itself, right? And then everybody who had a six-pack set of abs and ripped, right? They'd all be happy. Is that true when you look around? Look, you're successful. You got your life going on, right? You're looking for this information. Is that true? See, the thing about it is, all that confidence, all setting your life up for all the working out and the abs, it only delivered it partially the way there. So you got to think about it. You got to upgrade your why, because it didn't deliver on all its promises. Sure, it was helpful. Sure, it was helpful. But if you're wondering why you can't do all the things that you did when you were younger, that's probably why. Your why didn't pan out. So you can't just, now it's 20 years later, here you are with a busy schedule, older, in the back of your mind, you know it didn't even deliver everything it said, and then you wonder why you can't get it done? You need to upgrade your why. You need to think about why you're doing this now at this stage of life. So let's talk about the frustrations of finding the right training strategy. I tell you guys, when you have the right mindset, when you understand the organizing principles to success in the gym with training strategies, that's all the universal things that make them true. So they all have their different, maybe volume or sets or emphasis on exercises or certain specifics, but they all have certain organizing principles like progressively overloading the muscle, consistency, right? Pushing yourself just a little bit more, mind-muscle connection with whatever the routine is, rest and recovery, all right? See, those things are what make it work, right? See, a training routine is just a training routine. It's you, right? I could do a certain exercise and you can say, wow, that's a lot of weight. I see guys, like they see me, the training, and they say, wow, you got two 25s, that's a lot of weight. And I'm thinking, I'm just doing that for the camera as a little eye candy to get into my message. I mean, I use 45s or more on that plate. See, it's not just a curl, it's just not, it's how much weight you use. It's the mind-muscle connection, all right? It's not just sets and reps. It's not just a training routine, right? So sometimes when you're looking for the right training strategy and think you're being misguided and misled, put it back on you, right? Take everything that you do to a higher standard. You should be bulletproof. You should be whatever training routine that you're given, that you get the most out of it. I'm not saying everyone is optimal, all right? I'm not saying everyone is perfect, but you don't need to have optimal. And you put that pressure on you, you can get what you need out of the training routine. And so that whole frustration of the right training, if you think it's just going to fit like a glove, I'll tell you this, when men come to me, and especially if they're like 45, 55 years old, and they're obsessing about a training routine, and they said they've tried all these training routines, I'll tell you, I always say to them, I go, look, if you're coming to me for that, either one or two things. Life is really good for you. You have no problems if this is what you're putting your focus and attention on. Or you got some real challenges and you're looking for control here in the gym, right? Because something's out of control in your life. I don't know which one it is, and they always say, I assure you, my life is good. I'm just looking for the right training routine. To me, it doesn't matter. You know why? With my skill set, and I'm going to talk about that real quickly, hell, I can help you with the training strategies. I can help you put your life, give you some perspective to conquer those other areas too. Got 36 years in personal development working with the masters. I don't care what your challenge is, I can help you, right? So again, that pressure with the right training, it's just numbers. Everybody doesn't do it, right? You can give a 16-year-old kid 2 months in the gym the exact training strategy that you use. You're 50 years old, right? You've been doing this for 20 years. There's no way he can execute the training strategies the same way as you, hopefully, or he's a great kid, or you may need to step up your standards, right? So is it the training routine or you, right? There's something that this is especially true when you're older and you're following the fitness experts. Got to tell you something. Part of the challenge is you're searching for the optimal strategy. Now, by optimal, what that basically means, it's the very best method. Optimum, the very best, right? You don't necessarily, there's so many factors into being healthy and fit and having muscle and losing body fat. I mean, from all the different training to the eating to the mindset, the organization to the follow-through, right? You don't have to be a 10 out of 10 optimal with the strategies. If you're very, very good at a lot, it'll all stack up. Again, you don't have to have the best diet, the right diet, or in this case, we're talking about the right training program. It doesn't have to be optimal. This is what I want you to remember. If you're an older man with a busy life and you're getting all of your information from the fitness experts out there, the passionate fitness experts out there, okay? Optimal is a fitness expert's best friend. Optimal is an older man with a busy, productive life's worst enemy. All right, I'll say that again. Optimal training strategies, eating strategies, how can this make a 1% difference, is a fitness expert's best friend. It's powerful. It's their identity. It's what they live for. It makes them great. It separates them from the other fitness experts. Optimal is a fitness expert's best friend. But you don't need optimal. Optimal and shooting for optimal and trying to buy into that, optimal is a older man with a busy, productive life's worst enemy. Think about systems. Use those examples. A system is part of a whole package with your training program. Put that pressure on yourself to get more out of it, more form, feel, and execution, rather than looking from one training student to the other. I want to talk about number 7, and that is losing hard-earned muscle. Right? You probably have experienced this too. You know, you're working hard in the gym. You're watching your diet. It's no easy task. You know, watching what you eat, getting all those meals in, watching videos like this to master your craft. It's frustrating, it's challenging, going through so much information that seems conflicting. Why can't I get a straight answer on just the right way to eat or the right way to change? Why do so many people have opinions about this is the best training program, that's the best training program? I tell you got to go through the physical challenges of getting to the gym and train. But the mental challenge is getting all this information on top of your busy life. I know what you're going through. The last thing you want to do is go to the gym, eat all that food, train hard in the gym, sacrifice, make your life in balance, juggle all these things, go to the gym, and then guess what? You start losing this hard-earned muscle mass. Right? You're getting smaller. You're not doing this building stuff to get smaller, right? It seems like it's going in the opposite direction. And let me ask you this, to make the challenge even worse, you're looking at all the fitness experts and, they're giving all the information, the younger guys, right, who are all in. I mean, optimal strategies. It's like, it's like nothing else can be effective if you don't use optimal. Why are you even doing this? I don't know if 4 times will do it. 17 is optimal. But I can't do 17, but it's optimal. I'm just telling you what's optimal. Why would anybody do anything that isn't optimal? Jeez, if you're going to do it 100%. I know that's what you're feeling when you are listening to the younger, passionate fitness experts. They don't live your life. They don't have your busy life. They're not juggling things. And so you hear, what do they say? Well, you're going to lose muscle mass. You're going to lose muscle mass. If you don't do this, all 17 things, you're going to lose muscle mass. And guess what? Training hard in the gym, you're watching your diet, get on that scale, 5 pounds less. Your shirts start feeling a little baggy. Now they're in your head. Now they're in your head. Oh my God, I'm losing my hard-earned muscle mass, just like that guy told me, just like that expert told me. He said I can't lose fat and build muscle. Oh my God, eat up. Shirts fill back up, and you don't necessarily look the way you want. You don't have the separation between the shoulders, the biceps, the triceps, even everything in between. You don't see the veins that you said that you want. Certainly you don't see striations, but at least you have the comfort. You're not losing that hard-earned muscle mass. Forget about all the information, how they've climbed in your head and they're freaking you out, right? And every time you look in the mirror, that guy was right, that kid was right, I'm losing all my hard-earned muscle. It's impossible to build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. I'm not doing all 17 optimal things. Might as well quit this. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to eat up. I'm going to at least be big. It's bodybuilding, right? But forget about that whole journey. What about when you go to the gym? Or how about this? Your friends and coworkers, they say, hey, I thought you were working out. You look like you're getting smaller. I thought you were a bodybuilder, building your body. And now they're in your head, right? How about this? And then they say, hey, are you sick? Your face is kind of drawn. Are you sick? I liked you when you're bigger. You look older now with your skinny face. Oh, man, right? all these things are working against you. It's tough enough just to get the job done. You're losing your hard-earned muscle mass. What can you do? Is there any way to do it? Then you got a guy saying to you, oh, will you lift weights? Oh, okay. Hey, my friend, oh, that guy, do you know him? My cousin? He's a bodybuilder. He's a real big guy. Not like you. He's a real big guy, right? Tell me, post down below, have you heard all these things when you're dieting to get shredded, to look great, be ripped, get that six-pack set of abs? It's in your head. What do you do about that? I even have one more theory because I've heard this so many times over the years, as you can kind of tell. See, I think that we as men sometimes, and I don't know if this is a primal thing, this is a theory that I'm working on, being in a tribe, right? We got to protect ourselves. We got to protect those around us, right? So as a man, maybe it's in our DNA, we got to be big, right? Some of us aren't as tall as others, right? But at least we're big. We're taking up room in space. We're less prone to being attacked by the other men in the pack. We're more alpha the bigger we are. So you have all these psychological factors, right, from your environment, and then you're losing size. Your shirts don't fit. All right, have I climbed into the experience about losing hard-earned muscle? Look, guys, here's the thing that you got to remember about all of this is quality muscle. You're not going to be as big as a person, but that's okay. Your shirts aren't going to fit the same way, but that's okay. You're not going to weigh as much on the scale, but that's okay. Let me tell you, I know most of you guys don't compete. You've never competed before, but I'll tell you, when someone gets into training, they say, hey, I want to compete someday. And maybe they've got, good regular amount of body fat, certainly not lean, but not fat at all. And let's just say, I don't know, they're 5'9", and they weigh solid 180 pounds. Right? Again, they're not fat, they're not lean. They'll come to me, they'll say, well, what do you think I think I'll compete at, think about 172, 175, 5 or 8 pounds less than I'm at right now. It's their very first contest, especially if they've only been training a couple of years. The truth of the matter is if they get really lean, I mean really lean, where you can see the ripped abs and all the striations to do well in a contest, right? That 180, they'll be lucky if they weigh 157. That's the truth. To look great on stage in the illusion of size. See, all this quality muscle, all this quality, it's all an illusion. I think if you saw me in person, especially if I wore a shirt, I wouldn't be nearly as big as what shows up on this camera. And that's because quality muscle, all right? Seeing all the separation, that's what you're working for, a quality physique. Something that can't be appreciated with your shirt on sometimes by those coworkers. They don't understand the process, and I hope I'm explaining the process to you so you don't get in your way. You keep on preventing yourself from losing that body fat and showing that quality physique. Here's one thing, guys, when you start losing that body fat, you're looking good, but other people, they don't understand. They see you getting smaller, right? Buy smaller shirts immediately. Don't be swimming around your fat guy shirt, or, I know compared to other people, you're not fat, right? Because you're going to be swimming around in it, and you're going to feel small. It's all a mindset, right? You got to understand how this all works. I'll tell you what, if you don't get lean to show the quality muscle and you're working hard, you might think, well, at least I'm bigger. At least I don't have people telling me I'm losing hard-earned muscle mass. And those young guys on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, they're telling me that I can't build muscle and lose fat, especially as an older guy. They're telling my testosterone levels are so low. It's impossible, right? And you don't get lean because they are in your head, and you don't want to go through a smaller yet 10 times better quality physique. That's going to list a whole bunch of problems after that, and maybe you've experienced these. Then you're gonna say, my training routine isn't working. Because I've been working hard, I can't see the muscle. Let me just tell you something. If you have too much body fat, regular people, good level body fat, but for what you're trying to do, it's not lean enough, you're not gonna see the shoulders. You can be working, building all kinds of muscle under the shoulders or biceps, what I use. It's not gonna be all separated like this with that body fat. So you go, I need a better arm routine. What's better, full body workout 3 times a week, one body part, doing it more, doing it less? You'll never figure out how many sets, how many reps, how often you should shave, what overtraining is, what's undertraining. Do I have the right shoulder routine, arm routine? Am I training too much, too little? Is higher volume, lower? You'll never figure it out because you'll never see the product. You're just going by theories of how you think it's supposed to be and how it's not meeting your expectations, but you can't see it because it's under that body fat. So if you don't go down this road and be courageous to lose the body fat, even though your shirts are getting smaller, and regardless of what those guys say, okay, it's gonna lead to a whole host of problems and confusion and frustration and overwhelm. You're not even gonna be able to concentrate. You're always gonna be uncertain of what you're doing, and you have no indicators to show your progress. I hope that's the shifting this mindset, and at least giving you a try for a period of time. And because what you're going through, I've kind of laid it all out. It's very common maybe when that guy says, "Are you sick? Hey, I thought you were a bodybuilder." You know, my cousin, Joe, I mean, he's a real bodybuilder. He's big. You'll be able to know that's coming. You're not alone. And you lose that body fat so you can see your efforts, your hard work in the gym, right? And you keep on doing it. Look, you know when you take your shirt off, but you got to get down there, all right? Got to get down there. It's probably one of the biggest fitness challenges that older men with busy, productive lives face is the fear, the obsession, the mind jumbled journey of losing hard-earned muscle mass. You're not losing that hard-earned muscle mass. Well, how can you take control of the situation? Have faith, have certainty, give your best in the gym, overload, progressively overload, hit that targeted muscle group with mind-muscle connection. You see, when I'm doing exercise, I'm really thinking about the muscles. I'm controlling on the way down on the negative. I'm exploding on the way up. All right, you get one more rep, 5 more pounds, better mind-muscle connection, taking it to higher and higher levels, resting, recovering, solid nutrition along the way, and have faith that you are building muscle, all right, and not obsessing about getting smaller, or not obsessing about the training routine. Strong mind, strong heart, strong gut. That's what it's going to take for you to not only build the body that you want now that you're a little bit older with a busy, productive life, but to also enjoy the journey along the way and keep on keeping on, one foot in front of the other. Information overload. As I continue my series of the top 10 fitness challenges that older men with busy lives face. Information overload. I know it's coming at you from every different angle, and you're committed, you're willing to do the work. How do you get through all that information? I'm going to help you understand what you need to do, how you need to take control of the information that's coming into you. I'm going to help you climb into the mind of a fitness expert, the right questions to ask, the right things to look for, the things to avoid. Information overload. It's number 6 in the top 10 fitness challenges that older men face, but this could easily be number 1. So information overload, it really is a challenge for anybody trying to master fitness at any age. But this is especially true for us older guys, right? Because we can't go extreme with all this information. We got to find what's effective and efficient. We're more than willing to do the work. We just know what to do. Okay, it's not our lifestyle like a fitness expert who's presenting the information. Right, we got to get the job done. Tell me what to do. I'm more than willing to do it. I'm successful in other areas. I know what success is. I know what a hard work ethic is. All right, I respect that. I appreciate it. I respect that of the fitness experts. I just need to know what to do and just get to work. Information overload. It plagues all of us. Now, let me tell you, I talk to so many men. It's given me the insight. A lot of guys are watching these broadcasts. They're calling me up and saying, "Man, you're speaking directly to me." They're filling out the questionnaires. I'll have the links down below. I read every single one of them. They tell me about their situation, their challenges. Your videos, they speak right to my heart. It's because not only have I gone through it, I talk to so many men just like us. Right? So information overload. One of the things I think, well, all these guys are just in it for the money. They're just giving you that information. They're trying to confuse you. They're just in it for the money. All right? Let me just tell you something. Number 1, because your beliefs, as you absorb this information, right? You're saying, why can't I just get it straight? Why does this have to be so complicated? Just give me a black and white answer. What's the best training routine? I'm successful. I'm a smart guy. Just tell me what to do. Why is this so complicated? I get it. And one thing that is implanted in a lot of us older guys' mind, these fitness experts, they're just in it for the money. Let me just tell you this. Right off the bat, as you're absorbing this information, your mindset is very important. That is so far from the truth. Most of the fitness experts, they need to think more about money. They're doing it for their passion. They've done it. They've found their place in the sun. Maybe they've had challenges, and they're open about all those challenges they had in the past. And they found their place, their identity, a way to contribute, a way to feel great about themselves with fitness, right? That's their identity. They'll do anything to succeed because they found their emotional place. Maybe for you it's work or family. Fitness is their thing. And I'll just tell you this, they probably need to think more about money. They're putting all this willpower, focus, energy, and time, giving you this information that they've mastered, doing whatever it takes, probably 10 times more than they have to do. And I'll tell you, they're not taking care of their family or have a family or their business. So they need to probably start doing that. So that whole belief that they're just in it for the money, that's not true. Let me tell you what I believe. I believe they found the fitness. They're good at it. People admire them. They want to help other people. Here's the challenge. They learned it just like you. They got all this information, right? And so how do you get big? You eat right, you train hard, and you rub a lucky rabbit's foot, right? Those are the keys to success. And they're more than willing to do all of that. So, and I'm just using that as an analogy and a metaphor, right? An example, right? And so what they're doing is they're coming on and they're telling you all those things that they did, even the rabbit's foot, because they did all of them because they had to there wasn't even the internet to sometimes get this information. They collected it all, and you, unlike you saying, picking and choosing, they did it all. And so they look great doing all those things, and the rabbit's foot, and not stepping on cracks, right? And they're giving it all to you. They don't know at this point what things they can get rid of and keep and still look as good. The 80-20 rule, you'll hear me talk about a lot. We do 100 things, right? Only 20 of them make an impact. You're getting all 100 because they're that passionate, they're extreme. That's what worked for them. They got to tell you what worked for them. And at this point, in most of them, the career, they're younger guys, right? They're not older like us. They haven't scaled back to say, I told you all 100 things. You really only need to do these 20. They're not there yet. So they're not intentionally trying to deceive you. And that's what you have to understand right now from the beginning. Like I said, the ones you should watch out for, to be perfectly honest, are the ones that aren't as skilled. You can tell they're not as passionate, and they're in this fitness space. It's a business. And one thing you can see, you'll go onto a page on what your challenge is, and this big, long page with all these molecules and big words and everything like that. There's a marketing thing, and I don't care if it's marketing on how to make money online or whatever it is, fitness, whatever expertise. There's a marketing strategy to make it look as complicated as possible going into it. All right? Where you just look at it and you're just, wow, he seems to know what he's talking about. There's no way I can do that. And then you buy into their product. Right? Let me tell you, on the other side, when you get in, the strategy is to make it as simple as possible to give you results. Right? So those are some things you need to think about going in, that belief. But I know where you get that belief from. You know where you get that belief that everybody's trying to rip you off and everybody's a liar? From the fitness experts themselves. Like I said, they share a lot of their stories, a little distrust for the world. Right? Everybody's trying to rip them off. Sometimes, if you really think about it, it seems like they're talking to another fitness expert who disagrees with them, right? And instead of talking to you and climbing into your challenges, right? So you got to remember that from that angle. The challenge that you need to take control of is the black and white mentality, that you're looking for black and white answers, that you must do it this way or that way. There's no in between. And because of that, right, they're more than willing to give you a black and white answer, and that's where you're going to be challenged. You're going to be challenged because sometimes it's the subtleties. If you think about what you've been great at in life, there's been subtleties, right? So that black and white. The other extreme, the extreme strategies, right? But I'll tell you something. There's something that you need to do to take control. Because I really believe with the right mindset, that's why I talk about mindset so much, is that with the right mindset, you can take any training or eating strategy and get the results. You can learn from it, go further and further, and then you can make adjustments along the way. There's one thing that you got to understand is a lot of times the strategies, what they're being presented is optimum strategies, right? So the fitness experts, hey, if you can't do anything 100%, you shouldn't even do it all. It's that extreme nature, all right? It's that extreme nature of doing everything 100%, all right? And that's what's going to get you, right? Because you'll say, well, I'll give you an example about eating 6 times a day, all right, for protein synthesis. And they maybe have an hour seminar on protein synthesis, right? Where you just need simple answers. You're busy, you got a busy, productive life. You just want to know what you need to do. You don't need an hour seminar on protein synthesis. And so they say, well, 6 feedings a day for protein, for maximizing, for optimum. You'll say, well, can I do that in 2 or 3 sittings? And they'll say, well, sure you can, but it's not optimum. It's not the best, right? Now, here's the follow-up question that you need to ask is, okay, that's optimum. 10 out of 10, that's the best, optimum, right? Because all the strategies you're getting are optimum. Why do anything less? That's the mentality, right? I'm telling you the best way, right? But the next question you need to follow up is, okay, if I eat 2 or 3 meals a day, okay, if I eat 2 or 3 meals a day, right, it won't be a 10 out of 10, but how much would I lose? So if I eat 6 meals a day with my protein synthesis, that would be a 10 out of 10. Let's say I gain a pound of muscle in 6 months. What would happen if I wasn't optimum and I ate 3 times a day? Okay, that should be the follow-up question, because many times that may not be a 10 out of 10, but it'll be an 8 out of 10. And maybe if you couldn't gain a whole pound of muscle in 6 months, maybe you can gain 3/4 of a pound of muscle. All right, I'm using this as an example because if someone has to eat 6 times a day because that's the fitness strategy that they're using, all right, and then they got to stop and eat, it doesn't jive with their life, they can't do it, they can't maintain it, then who cares if it's the optimum strategy, right? What is the strategy that can work for you and still get your results? You don't have to have all optimum strategies that they're preaching, and that may be where you're going wrong. The bottom line is you got to put that effort into what you're doing. You have to find a way. You should be bulletproof. You should be bulletproof. You should be able to make any training and diet strategy work. All right, but you're letting all the information you're letting it get you confused by not understanding where it's come from. You need to get a set of strategies that is sustainable, because over time you don't have to have those 10 optimum strategies. And I think that's where a lot of guys are getting confused. I've been counting down the top 10 fitness challenges that older men with busy lives face. Number 5 is they soften the pain. Right, and what I mean by that, I'm not talking about the physical pain, and maybe you get a little bit older, you beat yourself up in the gym, your joints are gone. I mean, got to take care of that. I think you know that a lot of guys are suffering from all the crazy training they were doing in their younger days when they were so driven, so motivated. Some of it, maybe it's age, but I'm not talking about the physical pain. We'll address that on another video. What I'm talking about is the angst, the emotional pain that we all go through, because it doesn't matter how driven we are, how many times we write down our goals, there's always going to be areas of our lives that we need to put more focus on, more attention on. And it isn't because we're lazy. It isn't because we don't know what success is. It's we were just how we allocated that willpower, focus, and energy and time. We went to other areas. You know, the men who are attracted to this broadcast, I mean, these videos, I mean, they're successful. You guys aren't dumb, you know, but when it comes to fitness, right, we got to get to this. We're getting a little bit older, right? And that's in all areas of life. I got to tell you something. A lot of times we want to soften the pain. Life gets challenging. It's challenging for all of us. I certainly know what that's like. But it's always there, that pain, that angst. This is the time you got to get on your fitness. This is the time you got to take care of your family and your business. right? A lot of times, especially if you're fit and in shape, you look better than a lot of other men your age, we tend to think we're going to live forever. And we're still young. We still see ourselves like 25-year-old boys, right? And sometimes we even say that, right? Oh, I'm young. I'm just the same. I keep up with those 20-year-old guys in the gym. And although that may be true, we got to just realize we got to live with a sense of urgency. We can't soften the pain. This is the time. We've got one life to go through it, right? And a lot of guys who I talk to, they're having a real challenge with their health and their fitness. They're really getting a little scared, a little frightened. They're feeling the pain that if they don't take care of their fitness now, they're not going to be around for their kids. And I talk to them, you can just hear the energy drop out of the conversation. I'm kind of wondering if they're still there. But I can feel, they can feel it that they're thinking about life without their kids. And even when they're a little bit optimistic, they're thinking, am I going to be able to keep up with my kids? And they know the investment of prioritizing their exercise. It takes time, but they know they must do it, but they soften it. It's it's a natural thing that we all tend to do. But I'm here to remind you about that pain. You know, it's like one of those things if you had a deadline, right? An important deadline at work. I don't know, it could be your taxes or whatever it is, where you have this date coming up. And you always want to say you want to do it, right? You know you should do it. But it just causes too much pain and angst. You got other things going on, and you just don't prioritize it, right? But what happens? And, you know, it's too much pain to actually do it, right? But then you let it linger on, and then you get to that point where everything switches, where it's too painful not to do it, right? Maybe you know what that's like. And all of a sudden there's a switch where the pain to do it is far, far less than the pain not to do it. You got to take action. You can't screw around. You can't put it off anymore. And then you get it done. And what happens? That wasn't so hard. Why did I put it off as long as I did? Well, that's how it's going to be with prioritizing your fitness. And I talk to a lot of guys, right, who are a little bit older, and it's not just their fitness they need to be put the priority in. They got to address this pain head on. And it will be like that. See, here's the thing, is if you really think about your biggest accomplishments, it was pain that got you to dot every I, cross every T, solve the Rubik's Cubes, work later at night, get up early where other people wouldn't, because you were just trying to stay out of pain. That got you to step up into your power that you could have done long before. Pain was a powerful tool. You used it. Right? And if you really think about what you're successful at, the chances are great. You know, sure, you want to experience all the great feelings, but it was the pain that got you to do things. And people said, wow, you are so disciplined. You've got superhuman powers. And he said, man, I had to do it, right? Because you just the pain full on. But think about those situations. Once it became a habit, and once you force yourself to do it and did it long enough, it wasn't so hard. It was just the blocking, the tackling, it was just showing up, because you went through the toughest part, and that's actually getting through it and learning the skills and going through the confusion, the frustration, overwhelm. I know you guys are feeling that when it comes to strategies. With training, you don't want to waste any time. With eating, you don't want to waste any time, so you're not doing anything. But once you finally address it, it's not that hard. And then you look so amazing, so disciplined to all your friends. All right? You know what that's like. You experienced that in other areas of life. The pain will subside, but you have the habits that will last forever. All right? If you look at any motivational, anybody's story, why they're so amazing, I'm no exception. Whether they realize or not, pain was the biggest driving force. When we frame it correctly in our minds, it may be a little uncomfortable at first, but it's the thing that gets us to live the life that we really want. You know, I have this thing that I was thinking about. I'm not a rocket scientist. I never wanted to be a rocket scientist. I don't have that much interest in space. But one thing that I learned is from the Earth to Mars, it's 44 million miles about, right? What I've learned is that the gravitational pull that keeps a rocket ship going to Mars is so strong, the force keeping it down, gravity, right? Getting past the first 100 kilometers just takes so much force to break the Earth's atmosphere before it starts floating into space. And I don't know all the rocket terms and all this, but let's just say it takes 10 units of energy to break through that gravitational pull, because that force wants to keep it down, keep it down. You know how it feels when you just want to break through your goals, and you know you can do it, but some force is just keeping you down, right? Well, just say it takes 10 units of this force to break through the Earth's atmosphere. You know what I've learned is that first 100 kilometers, to get the entire rest of the way to Mars, the 44 million miles what's left, guess how many units of energy it takes, so to speak? It takes 10, right? 10 just to get 100 kilometers, and then 10 to get the rest of the 44 million miles away to get to Mars. And I always think about, because if I think about my biggest accomplishments, and maybe you do too, that people that admire you for, that you did whatever it took, it was probably that same way. It was so hard. It took so much force. It took so much energy. But once you prove to yourself that you can do this because of the pain, because of the angst, you can't be denied, you got to figure this out, you got to do this. Once you learned and cracked the code just through persistence, some of them came sooner than others, but getting the rest of the way to become whatever it is you're great at, and maybe it's that family that people admire you for, maybe it's business, right? It's not hard anymore. You're not thinking about all that pain anymore because you broke through it. Your mind got stronger, you learned the strategies. I mean, you're just floating the rest of the 44 million miles away, and everybody thinks, wow, how do you do it? You broke through the 100 kilometers. You had the gut, the persistence, you dealt with the pain where other people put it off, put it off, put it off. Well, I always think about that when I have challenges, whether it's business or the next level, and that's how it's always working. That's how it's going to work with you with your health and fitness. Persist, deal with the pain. Think about, man, your kids. We're not getting older. We're not getting younger. There's more time. Think about that. Man, when I hear of songs from the 90s, that's when it was a real transition time for me through bodybuilding. I really went on that whole journey and loved the lifestyle. I hear a song and I go, I can't believe that was 28 years ago. Well, you know, and if you know maybe what this is like as a man, you kind of think, we as men, sometimes we don't think but I'm only 28, right? We kind of suspend in time. I'm thinking that was 28 years ago. What's my body? What's my life? What are my options that are going to be available to me 10 years from now? That's 66. 66. Remember when you were 25? 66, man, you might as be, are people even alive at 66? Do they even work out? Do they even live? We're there, guys. Now is the time to take care of this fitness. Putting it off, we're going to be 66, 46, 56, whatever it is anyway. Now is the time to lean in. All right, so number 5 of the top 10 fitness challenges that older men face. I'll tell you, they soften that pain that can, when it's framed correctly, could be just what it takes to get to that next level. And we all have it. And we all have it in all areas of life. A lot of guys, they lack imagination. It's that they want to have the body. They want to see themselves disciplined. They want to see them just doing all this execution and working it and keeping their family intact and their business intact. They want to, but they lack that imagination, right? Let me just tell you something. In life, it isn't like you sit back and are neutral. Well, let life tell me what's possible. And it certainly isn't your negative, you're imagining how it doesn't work out, all the liars, all the guys giving you misinformation on the internet, all the people misleading you, all right? I tell you, you're imagining all these scenarios that are going to be true for you. You're going to go into a cognitive dissonance. You're going to go on a confirmation bias, and you're going to start seeing everything they say. They'll dangle a participle, or they may be too ripped, and you're going to start going down that path. Be very careful whose imagination you follow, but more importantly, create your own. Create your own of what is possible. This is what happens in life. If you can imagine it, your brain will start looking for the strategies and the distinctions to fill it all in. Right? Life is tough. I get it. But if you can't have that imagination, I am a man. I can be fit. I'm older. I can be fit no matter what my busy schedule is. Someone has done it. I can. and you open up that imagination, the strategies will come. There will be something when you come here every single day that you will pick up. And it can apply to life. Maybe it's a subtle thing. Let's talk about imagination for a specific strategy, because I know you guys love this mindset. Some of you guys go, yeah, but tell me some strategies. Let's talk about imagination and strategies. Some people see my lower volume, less exercise, less sets, and they'll look at the exercises and the amount of sets, and they say, that isn't going to work for me. That isn't enough volume. Trust me, guys, I got your back. All right? I would not just put things out there unless it's well thought out. I've got 30 years of doing this personally at the highest level, but also helping out, guys. I've climbed into your mind. I'm not going to let you down. You can't have that imagination. What's my motive, right? You got to imagine, well, if Skip's telling me this, what can I imagine? And then I'll start seeing it fill in. So they'll see that. That's not enough volume, right? With that imagine, you're going to see everything. You're going to go to the internet and you're going to see some guy who believes in you, and you've gone down this path. And I know, guys, I know you want to succeed. I know you want to be more effective and efficient in the gym in a shorter period of time. See, like I'll talk to a guy and I'll say, okay, well, all right, well, I don't think that's enough volume. My imagination, they don't say that, just can't conceive it, right? I'll say, well, let me ask you, okay, so tell me your scheme, and they'll tell me all the exercises, do all this time that it takes in the gym. I'll say, how many reps? And they'll go 6. I'll go, 6? Not 6 to 8, 6, 7, or 8? No, 6. And so I'll say to them, I go, well, what if you pick a weight? How do you pick a weight? What if you could have done more because you picked too light a weight, or you're particularly strong on that particular day? I still stop at 6 because I got the next set and the next set and the next exercise. I'm pacing myself through the workout. Now, they don't actually kind of say that, but that's the process. I go, well, what if you pick a weight that's too heavy and at 4 you're really struggling, right? Do you stop at 4? No, I will get to 6. I said, okay, first of all right, it's not just numbers on a piece of paper, it's a mindset. I'll say, look, you have to have a range. That when you get under there, sometimes you're going to be stronger, sometimes you're going to be weaker, sometimes your body can do it, sometimes your mind will have to come through, and hopefully it's a combination of the two. If you have that range, 6, 7, or 8, on that particular set, you may have to fight to get 6. Maybe you're strong and do a 6th, a 7th, and an 8th. There has to be a range in every set, all right? You talked about that set that you were dying at 4, but you said, I'm going to get 6. And then you got that 4th one, you got that 5th one, and you got that 6th one because your mind was determined, because you said 6 reps in every set. I said, that's how every set of every exercise, the entire work has to be, where your mind has to take through. And I'll tell you this, you can't guess how many reps you're going to do before you even do the set. You can just stop or get your mind. You have to let your mind and body take over. Every set is a sprint. Every set is a test that I can do 6, 7, or 8. If you just stop at 6, or you fight to 6, or you stop at 6, it's a bad strategy. It's a bad mindset. Look, if you look at a piece of paper and you don't have the imagination, you lack the imagination that there is a strategy to get more done in less time, you just don't know what it is right now. If you lack the imagination, and you're going to miss a tip like that. It's everything. It's everything. You hear about intensity. I just gave you in a nutshell what intensity is, rep range is, how to get more done in less. But if you lack the imagination, your brain goes, that's not enough volume, prove to me. You're not going to see it. You're going to miss this. Your brain is just going to block all this out. And it's the same thing in life. You've got to have the imagination. And then your mind, you're a smart guy, and you've probably done this in other areas of life. You will find the strategies, the people, the situations. You'll stay away from the negative people, and you'll stay towards the positive people who have your back, who have done this, and who can explain it to you. It all starts with that imagination. Most guys, they're waiting for life to prove to them, waiting for the strategy to prove to them, but because they lack the imagination. I tell you, it's everywhere in your life. It is the same way. You can't wait for life to prove to you. You got to see it, and it's not magic. Be open to that training routine, and I hope that strategy about intensity, how you can get more done in less, you'll actually hear it because you can imagine it happening for you. The life you want, the body that you want, the discipline you want, it's all there. And I'll tell you, don't just use these strategies in the gym, guys. Use them everywhere in life. And that's what I do. I'll tell you, I love coaching one-on-one. I love it. If you're interested in coaching, right, I have a lot of guys reaching out to me, right? If you're interested in coaching, first imagine it, fill out the form, right? And what I do is week by week, recorded calls. I have you prepare before with a form. I have you afterwards the next day with a form, right? And we talk for an hour. It's all recorded. It's all stacked up, okay? Week after week after week. And see, what I do is I help open up that imagination to the life that you want, right? All the different options that are available to you. That's why I just love what I do, because from the scope of working with so many people with so many scenarios, right? All the challenges, all the aspirations, I help them open up their imagination to all the resources that are there from that training strategy that I said. Carrying yourself in the gym with more confidence and having it carry it over. One step, one strategy. It has to start with the imagination. And I'll tell you this too. It's not just for all the positive things, right? When you have a challenge, it could be with your wife, your kids, at work, whatever it may be, when we're hit with challenges, right? That's where that imagination needs to kick in too. You got to see it that this negative situation, it may take me a little while, but I can turn it at least neutral. And then eventually I can turn it to a good situation. And then I can turn it to a great situation. You got to have the imagination that when you're in a pretty good situation and you want it better, you got to imagine it, that it can even be a great situation. You can turn a bad situation into a good situation, or at least mediocre. You got to have that poise, that patience, that imagination. You're a smart guy. I'm sure you're successful in other areas of life. You can certainly do it in the gym. And if you do it in the gym, you can do it in other areas too. But it's not just when you want a good situation, imagine it happening. And then using your intelligence, your resourcefulness, your grit to find the strategies, find the sources of information, whether it's filling out a questionnaire, taking it at really a serious level like a lot of men do, and have one-on-one coaching with me every week. There is a way, there are resources out there, but it starts with your imagination. Again, with your physical body and every other challenge you have. So not just the positive things that you imagine, but when you hit any single challenge. You have a plateau, right, in the gym. Right? A bad situation at work, right at its inception, right at the beginning of the challenge. If you can imagine right from the beginning, you're on a whole different path. You make sure you don't want to hang around negative people that condition you to see negative out of everything, because then that imagination only sees the negative. When you have that positive imagination, I'll tell you, you block out people, you block out situations. They're not a part of your world. So not only during the good things, you got to have that imagination when you have challenges, and it crowds out all the negativity, all the people, and it opens up all the possibilities. Have I talked enough about imagination? Right? It's so crucial. This could easily be number one of our top 10 fitness challenges that older men face when they have those busy lives. Easily could be number one, but that's number 4 in our top 10 challenges that older men with busy lives face. Number 4, lack of imagination. I want to help you with that imagination. Reach out to me. Fill out that questionnaire below, and if you're the type of man who does what it takes to get what he wants, let's talk to me about one-on-one coaching. I'll see if it's a good fit for you. Number 3 of the top 10 fitness challenges that older men with busy lives face. And it's what I call optimal or nothing thinking. Optimal meaning the very best. Maybe there's a lot of younger, driven fitness experts who are giving you information freely, passionately, right? And giving you, their best wisdom, their knowledge at their level of experience. 25, 30 years old, maybe trained in 5 years, right? They're giving you their honest, passionate, sincere information. And sometimes either it's directly stated, implied, or that's the way you're taking it, that you got to do it optimal, 100% the best. Maybe they're what they call an evidence-based. They're really into science. They'll talk about the 3-hour roundtable discussions that they have with other passionate, evidence-based fitness experts and coaches about a particular detail. We go around, and it's optimal, the best, scientifically proven with research papers to go along with it, right? Maybe it's just a fitness expert who looks great, looks amazing. Maybe they've won a few contests. They have some certifications, optimal, optimal, optimal. And they're doing their best to give you these optimal strategies. Right? I do the same. But I think what I want to emphasize to you is that in life, it isn't all or nothing. I know that makes us feel in control. We feel, powerful, that we're giving our all 100%. We do everything right. And you surely should work to do everything right. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think anybody can accuse me of, over the last 30 years, not just what I've done with my body and all the videos and articles and everything that I pumped out, but me showing up for you every single day for these live broadcasts on my own time. 3 o'clock in the morning I get here, I prepare and I think about it. I don't think anybody can accuse me of being lazy, right? It's not about being lazy or not, it's that you're not giving 100%. We only have so much willpower, focus, energy, and time, and we need to learn how to be elegant in our approach and how we allocate it. Everything isn't equal in importance, right? It's just not. That's just not how life works, inside or outside of the gym. And if you're an older man with a busy, productive life, and you think you got to do everything optimal because a 25-year-old fitness expert says it is, even though it's way too much time in the gym for you, even though there's too much time thinking about prepping meals, and then you do nothing, or you do it for a while and it's not sustainable, then who cares if it's optimal? All right? You got to remember that. So when I give you these tips, I don't want you to be thinking, I don't do it that way. And then you try it and you think, it feels so much better. I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Like it's either optimal or nothing. Like you got total massive gains, or you got nothing because you weren't doing those small distinctions, or you weren't doing exactly the evidence base. It's this heaven or hell, black or white, feast or famine, good or bad, or, heaven or hell, right? Extreme, 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 right? We want to use the most optimal strategies, even if there's a lot of debate, right? Nobody agrees necessarily on all the fitness experts, even when they're science-based. What's optimal anyway? Right? I saw something on Twitter the other day. It was a very distinguished, well-educated, science-based fitness experts. And he was talking about the latest protein studies about their distribution. And I think he was talking about that it's optimal if you were to distribute your protein, let's say, over 6 meals. And so the guy said, hey, I can't eat all those 6 meals. Can I do that in 3 or 4 meals? And he said, the expert took that as, hey, look, I didn't say you couldn't do that. I just said it's not optimal. All right? So there's a big difference. So you should get used to, at least in your mind, doing follow-up questions when the expert says it's optimal and you can't fit into your schedule. You can't do it. Maybe you haven't done that way. Before you say, I've been doing it wrong this whole time, you'll say, well, okay, if that's optimal, 10 out of 10 the best, if I do it this way, maybe in this case 3 or 4 meals, how much muscle will I not gain over a year? Okay? If that's a 10 optimal on a scale from 1 to 10, doing it 3 or 4, what do I drop down to? A 2, a 3, a 5, a 7, an 8? Number one is they really won't know the answer. There isn't that much science, whatever you think, that can go in degrees, but life is in degrees. The chances are those 3 to 4 meals, and I don't know this, I'm just saying, if you can't do it, you can't do it if you can't break it in 6 meals a day. 3 or 4 might only drop down to an 8 out of 10. There's so many other things besides protein consumption that you do, from the consistency, the overload, the mind-muscle connection, the frequency, the training, how much intensity, effort you do, scheduling, consistency, other meal considerations, calories, deficit, all this. There's so many factors. You don't have to be optimal in everything. And you certainly shouldn't think if I can't do it optimally, I shouldn't do anything at all, whether you used to do it that way 20 years ago and now you're 40 pounds overweight, you're an older man with a busy life, you can't do all that and you're not doing anything. Or maybe this is the first time in your life you're putting your attention to it because you didn't have time to do all that before and you think that's the only way. All right? In life, we don't give 100% to everything. We may give 100% to a few things that are important to us. And then the things that we don't, I don't care about them. I don't care about making money. I just care about my body, this, that. You don't give 100% to everything. And they'll say that. Well, that's not important, that's not important, that's not. Well, to them it's not, but maybe it's important to you. You have to work that in. Right? There's something that you'll hear a lot in the fitness world from the experts, and you'll hear this, that when it comes to the way your physique looks and it feels, it's 80% nutrition, 20% training. And I'll tell you, to some fitness expert, it just, their brain just explodes. What are you talking about? You give 100% to everything. What's this? That slacker mentality. The youth of today, right? It's not what it says. Nobody says, don't give as much attention to your training. It's not what it means when you hear that, right? It's just that you give your training 100%. You give your nutrition 100%. But if you think, and nobody's perfect, if you think they're equal in what the end product is going to be, you're just wrong. Because you can train your rear end off. You can be an animal in the gym, perfect execution, perfect mind-muscle connection. But if you slack off with your eating and you got 40 pounds extra fat like a lot of guys do, these older guys, you're never going to see the results you're training, and you're certainly not going to be healthy, and you're certainly not going to look like you trained so hard because you don't have it allocated in what presents itself in health and fitness the right way. Here's an analogy, right? Let's just say there's a couple factors to be a great husband, right, to your wife, all right? Let's say, okay, that to be totally faithful to her, right, or always show up on time, right? Now, hopefully you'll always be faithful and you'll always show up in time. Nobody's telling you to slack off on one or the other, all right? But if you think that they're equal in importance to staying faithful and showing up on time are equal in what's the quality of your relationship, you're wrong, all right? And there's a lot of these strategies, optimal or nothing, that you're hearing, that you're boxing yourself in, that they're weighed differently for the end product. And the beauty, the game, the puzzle that you need to figure out is to figure it out. It's like the 80-20 rule. Which are the 20 things out of 100 that give you 80% of the production? And it's different for everybody. I talk to men all the time. Everything isn't black or white, heaven or hell, good or evil, right? And again, I mentioned this before as I've been going through the top 10 challenges that older men with busy, productive lives face. And that's that, if you're very good, all the different factors have great physique. It's not just training. It's not just training and eating. There's a lot of other things, mental, emotional, physical, along there, that if you're just very good at the key, most important ones, you're going to have a great physique. It's going to fit into your schedule. You're going to be able to get it all done. You're going to feel in control. Right? So a couple of things. Just remember that. And that's the piece together with your particular schedule. So number two, as I get to number one, and I'm telling you, number one is the biggest challenge. It makes everything, all the rest of the night, all pieced together. It's going to give you that sense of control, that clarity. It's going to simplify the process. It's going to crowd out all those strategies that make it too complicated, too confusing, where you can't get going. Number two is overcomplicating the training process. All right? Now, let me just say this to you. If you have a training program that works for you, you're showing up, you're giving your all, you're feeling good, you're feeling in control, you're stimulating the muscle, you're getting the results, you're getting the gains, and you can fit it into your busy, productive life, it's sustainable. Right? Not like I have this very complicated training strategy. I'm training 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. All right, and the rest of my life is falling apart. I can't hang on, right? But I'm trying to, because that's what the fitness experts say. All right, not short-term control, not short-term gains, but you don't have a system for the long run, right? I want to talk about that, right? But if you feel in control, if it's working for, I don't want to challenge that at all. A lot of guys will ask me questions. Hey, I do this type of training, this pyramid, superset, this many reps. It's not like yours. What do you think? First thing I'll say is, hey, are you getting the gains? You feeling in control? And they say yes. The last thing, because it's not about me, guys, it's about you. There are many, many ways to get from point A to point B when it comes to your training strategies. And I'll tell you, I know that's so different than what you hear in the fitness world. The extreme fitness, a lot of times a lot younger than you, right? They black or white, heaven or hell. We talked about that extreme, that there's only one way to do it, right? Look, I know when you're looking for certainty, a lot of times those experts, that's just the way they are convinced, they're sold, it's the only way to train, and if you're not doing that way, hey, it's a sincere effort just to have you do it, quote unquote, right. But you've probably noticed that everybody has a right way to do it. A lot of times, they're giving you what you want. You're saying, just tell me the right way to do it. And they're giving it to you black and white. That's your need for certainty, your lack of really mental and emotional flexibility. And if it works, if somebody just tells you to do it this way, you do it and it works, then that's all you need. Because you're going to show up consistently, you're going to do the work, you're going to get the gains, you're going to make the adjustments. Certainty, control, I'll tell you guys, it's the number one overriding factor that's going to make a training strategy work. I will never mess with your sense of certainty. If you think it's working for you, I am not going to bust up your sense of certainty. Right? I just won't do it. I am your coach, I am your friend, I'm here to get you the results that you want because I know what it takes. It takes training, recovery, mind-muscle connection, making adjustments along the way. You'll get it. Some of you will get it in 3 months with that comfort and certainty that you want. Some of them may take 3 years, but if you just keep on keeping on, you'll get it. It's not that complicated. And I know you're saying, well, you're a 6-time national champion. You've been doing it forever. It's not that complicated for you. It won't be for you. It's just like probably some of the other things in life. Right? You got to just remember the organizing principles. Right? It's not that complicated whether you're getting confused that way with the experts or you're letting yourself get confused. Right? So I'll never mess with your sense of certainty. Do I think that there are ways that will work for you? Yeah, sure. If you want to buy into if you're loving this vibe, right, what I got to share, I'll be more than happy to explain it to you, not just tell you, explain why it works. A lot of times, it's not just about building muscle, right, overloading, enjoying the process, There's factors that work for you, right? There are many ways to get from point A to point B, and I know to some of you guys out there, when it comes to training, knowing that is the most empowering thing in the world. For some people, it just gets them that sense of uncertainty because they want it to be black and white. Now, keep on searching for that black and white. I hope you find it, and if you do, that's a great feeling. But if you can't, you may want to understand what I'm saying here and give it a shot. All right? It's about being consistent. It's about giving your effort, mind-muscle connection. It's making adjustments along the way. And isn't that true in life? Right? Whether it's your relationships or business, that's why you're so successful over there. Right? If you're an older man with a busy, productive life, you've already tried all those routines, you can't do it. You can't do it with your busy life, and you're not doing anything. Or you have a great home life, a great business life. Now you're coming over here for the first time, and you have these extreme strategies, extreme thinking, and you can't sustain it. All right? And I get that. Look, you've seen guys with half your intelligence, right? Half your time on this planet. They've figured out, so can you. But we just got to remember, we can't overcomplicate the training process, especially if it's just for a sense of control. That control we may not get. I want to give you strategies. It's different for everybody. I wish I could say, just do this, make it black and white. The number one fitness challenge that older men face is you just have too much body fat. Too much body fat, all right? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, I look pretty good, right? I know I have a few pounds over, right? But my body fat's okay. And I know that's especially true when you compare yourself to all the other men your age who are a little bit older. They're not even working out. You're probably in a very select group where you're the only man really dedicating your willpower, focus, energy, and time, and you're better than most, right? And so that can sometimes throw it off because, and again, it's a visual thing, but just say you're like 20, 22%. That's better than all the men around you. Right, you're fit, they admire you for that, they admire your discipline, and you're working out, and I get that. And you should be proud of that. But if you want to look like the fitness experts, and here's the challenge that starts a whole landslide, a whole domino effect of confusion, is when men who are a little bit older with busy, productive lives that are putting in the effort, they're watching all the videos on YouTube. All right, they're putting in the effort, and they're going, look, I don't look anything like the fitness experts, whether they're younger or older. I don't look anything like that. They're ripped. They have the veins. They have all this separation, all this assumed. You assume they have all of this size. And I'm telling you, it's their body fat levels are so much lower than yours. That 22%, that's makes you the very best of older, productive men with your lives, and you're putting that effort. Those guys that you're comparing yourself, they don't even train. It's not even close to the fitness expert. And I'm telling you, the absence of body fat, it just creates this entire illusion of size. Now, I'm going to show you something here because a lot of guys look at my arms and they say, man, what are those, 22 inches, 20 inches, whatever, right? And I'm telling you, I'm a big guy. I mean, taller, 5'11", about 205, 210. I'm not like a small person, right? But let's tell you, my arms aren't even close to 20 inches. They're not even close to anything like that, right? But when you are lean, you have the separation between the shoulders. You see the shadows between bicep, tricep, forearm. It just creates this illusion of size. And that's what you're seeing with most of your fitness experts out there, right? You're thinking, wow, they're just huge. And I really believe if you saw them in person, they'd be a lot smaller than what you are believing they are. And it's causing frustration with you. I tell you, it's just too much body fat. It's just too much body fat. When you are lean, it creates that illusion of size. But more than that, I just see so much frustration because as I climb into the minds, I think that they have a certain amount of body fat that's, again, better than the men around them. And they're doing the training routines, and they're bouncing from one training routine to the others. They're confused by all the information. They don't think their training routine is going to work. When I talk to them, right, a very typical conversation would be, because I can't see them, but I'll ask them, how many pounds do you think you're overweight? Sometimes it's 20, it's 40 pounds that they are admitting to be overweight. Let me tell you something, guys. I don't care what your training split is. You can tell me what your training split, how long you've been doing it, how frustrated you are with it. If you have that much body fat, you really cannot tell if it's working. It probably is. You're probably doing a great job. You should have no reason to be frustrated. It's just under that body fat. You'll never see it. You got to get lean. Again, here's the frustration. So you're seeing the fitness experts who are giving the information. You're thinking, I look nothing like that. Is it because I'm older? Is it my testosterone levels? Is it they're hiding some information back? Is it too late for me? You're going into all of this thinking that's throwing you off, causing confusion, frustration, overwhelm, right? And you're looking at the guys your age who don't even work out. And the challenge is you're seeing the fitness experts over here. You're seeing your contemporaries, guys your age over here who don't even work out, and you're a lot closer to them than the fitness experts. So you're just assuming you're doing something wrong. And again, bouncing from training routine to training routine to training routine. And I just tell the guys, look, if you are 20 pounds overweight, you're not going to look anything like what you're envisioning. And you're not going to build as much muscle to, I don't know what they visualize, that it's going to pop through all the fat and show veins. The absence of body fat, that leanness, that separation, those veins, it's just the absence of body fat, that thin skin, those veins, all the nooks and crannies. It's just the absence of body fat and not all of this enormous muscle. All right, so it's just not set up right. It's going to cause you confusion, frustration, and overwhelm. I tell guys this, and then the first thing is they tell me about the routine again. And I said, I'm sure that routine will work. You're just not going to see what you want to see. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just your perception of what you think it's going to turn out to be. It's not right. And the fitness experts, maybe we're not doing a good job of letting you know that. Maybe it's like, we want you to believe that we're so huge, right? And that's the mystique. That's why you're coming to us, that admiration. But I'll tell you this. I want your success so bad. Let me show you something. So what I did, you guys see my arms? I did arms today to show you, because that's what guys say. Your arms are as big as your head. What are those, 22 inches, 20 inches? So this, just to let you know, see, I just measured this at the 20-inch mark. Can you see that? So I'm just going to put it right here at the 20-inch mark, right? So you guys are thinking my arms are 22 inches, right? So there's the 20-inch mark. See all this room? It's not even close to 20 inches. Now, what type of fitness expert is going to tell you, I'm not as awesome as you guys think I am, but I'm doing that, right? Breaking down the illusion so you guys know you guys are so far off on what you're thinking how this works. You got too much body fat. Your routine is probably working. Don't quit bouncing around from one to the other. Just get better and better at it. You're not going to build pounds and pounds of muscle to pierce through the fat and be all ripped. That's not how it works. It's the biggest illusion. Right? And it probably takes a mature guy. I won all my trophies, 6 national championships. I've got all the pats on the back. I don't have to have you think that I'm just this huge, huge, huge bodybuilder, right? And I tell you, if you watch all 10 of these top 10 fitness challenges that older men with busy lives face, you just go through all of them, you'll see how all the pieces to finally crack this code will come together. Right? It's all about getting lean. It's quality muscle. And this illusion from this side of the camera is throwing you guys off. So once I finally do make that point with older men with busy lives who come to me for information, they're calling me on the phone. After I finally get them, because they want to talk about their training overnight, well, here's my training split. They'll list it all, and I'll finally get them back. Then I'll say, well, so tell me about that extra weight. You know you got to get lean, you got to get healthy for your family, right? Let's talk about it. I finally get them to focus on their nutrition because it's just not as sexy as the training, something you can control every day, right? And then I'll ask them, okay, so how many calories are you eating? And they go, well, my diet's pretty good. And I'll say, how many calories are you eating? Well, I don't know, all right? If you are serious about mastering this, if you really want to look the way you say you want to look, you got to know how many calories you're eating. We got to have some measure. You can't improve upon anything unless it's measured. Now, I'm not talking about you got to have meal prep Sunday or weigh every meal with a scale all the time. But if you want to improve, you got to have a starting point. You got to know how much you eat. That's number one. And then you got to create that caloric deficit. If you've done that for a while, if you think, well, my body fat, well, maybe for some of you, we got to eat more calories while you're still getting lean. But that's the whole process. You know, in future videos, you can reach out to me. I make myself available. We can talk about, you know, nutrition and diet, but don't make that complex. Calories ingested versus calories burned. I talked about it in videos, right? That's the starting point. But if you piece together all these top 10 fitness challenges, and if you think about it, you just got too much body fat. It's starting a domino effect of challenge after challenge, confusion after confusion. You're throwing up your hands. You're looking for all these strategies that you can't maintain because the body fat issue is throwing you off. All right, I hope that is so helpful. Guys, if you want me on your team, you and me, to go through this process, I'll help you crack the code. 12 weeks with me, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it may be, everybody's different. Reach out to me for this one-on-one coaching. I know many of you guys are doing that. Is this helping you guys? Is this information, right? You know you have the ability, you know you have the desire. It's just a matter of cracking the code with the strategies, but it takes this mindset, right? Mindset, heart, gut to actually execute it, just like all the other things in life that you're successful at. Tell me how much you found this information, these top 10 fitness challenges. Did they make sense to you? Did they help you out? Let me know. Guys, let's take care of our health, our fitness, do it for a bigger purpose than ourselves. Maybe that example for the other men at work, your other family members. Maybe you've got to stay in shape for your kids, whatever it is. We gotta train, we gotta eat, right? We gotta live, we gotta produce with a sense of urgency, right? So that's gonna do it for today. Have a great day, have an outstanding day, have an awesome day. Think big and think bigger than getting bigger.